Hey everybody, this is Ebbie with Ebbie Reviews. Welcome back to my channel. This is going to be my review for David Makes Man, season 1, episode 2. Now, give me a second. I'm trying to get to my notes. This too was a very good episode. We spent the whole time with David outside of school and what his home life is like. Um, so David is taking his little brother to his granddaddy's house for the weekend. Hold on, it won't open. Oh no, girl, no! What do you do? Okay, I'm gonna give it a second while I go off the top of my dome. I'll wait for these notes to open. David is taking JG to his granddaddy's house, and so they, David is very cautious. He's looking both ways and everything, and the bus arrives, and JG seems like he's dragging his feet, and David's like, "Come on, get on the bus, get on the bus." And so they get on the bus, and it was like, "Hurry up, hurry up!" And just as the doors are closing, the little drug dealer boy, who's the head boy in charge over at their apartment complex, sticks his arm in the door and jumps on the bus, which vexes David because I think that's who he was trying to avoid to begin with. Ooh, y'all, a couple more days. Um, so, um, they get off the bus, and David is dragging JG by his arm, like, "Come on, come on, let's go, let's go," and trying not to talk to the boy with dreads. I did not get his name. I call him Red Dreads. So they clearly, the boy with red dreads is trying to recruit David into his crew to sell drugs. He's trying, and at this point, David is not paying him any dust, so he's trying to talk to JG and try and relate to JG. And Red Dress said something about his dad, and JG went on an attack like this, like a hair trigger. He was laughing and giggling, and boom, mad, angry, and ready to. He very much Don Quixote, running at windmills. Because when I say you gonna fight this, the boy has to be every bit of 16, 17, all wiry muscle. JG is 9, 10 at the most, but got the heart of Muhammad Ali. Because when I say he was ready to throw, he was like, "I will whoop your ass out here. We can go. Like, you feeling froggy and want to jump. Like, we can do this. We can go." And he was like, "My daddy's dead." And David was like, "So is his." So turns out Sky is Red's daddy. Because this is gonna be important when we come back around. So, oh baby, I know what you're doing. So, oh, and I'm so sorry if I didn't make it enough about the fact that I'm fresh out of the shower and saying anything on my face. My face is freshly prepped from this evening, cleansed and serumed and moisturized. And when I'm done here, I'm going to bed. I digress. Back to what's happening. So David reminds JG that Red's daddy is dead too, because Red's daddy is Sky. So that immediately calms JG down. He's like, "Oh yeah, I forgot." So, that just opens a door for Red to try and ingratiate himself with JG. And so, they all palling around and stuff, and they get to the door of JG's granddaddy house, and JG granddaddy is like, he because there's gonna be a reversal of this in a minute. So JG's granddaddy, Red says, "Hey, Reverend, how you doing?" Okay. Apparently JG's daddy was a reverend. Granddaddy is a reverend or was a reverend, because he said, "Ain't nobody called me that in a long time." And he was like, "Well, yeah, I was taught to respect my OGs." And David is more concerned with JG getting his bag, taking his stuff into the house, and so he's yelling at JG from the door, because they haven't. JG just walked in. David is standing. David and Red is still standing at the door, while the Reverend is blocking the door, and so David calls out to JG, "Come get your bag, come get your bag," with his clothes and stuff in it. And his granddaddy is like, "Don't be yelling, don't be disrespectful, don't be yelling up in my house. You don't pay no bills up in here. Every time you come through here, you being disrespectful." He wasn't being disrespectful. He was telling his brother to come get the bag. But I think it's more of an issue of possibly who David's daddy is and who JG's daddy is, who was granddaddy's, clearly his son, and those two people are not the same. And so JG's granddaddy treats David any type of way because they're not biologically related, is what I'm getting from that. So they go in the house and he puts the bag down, and JG is playing a video game on a big screen TV, and he was like, his granddad was like, "JG, get him something to drink." And so he goes to this little mini fridge that's packed full of juices and all the snacks and things. And he was like, and JG is, of course, playing King of the Castle. Cause he's like, "One day all this gonna be mine. It's gonna be mine." And they like, "Okay." And he don't even close the refrigerator half good. And so, of course, David, being who he is, picks up the juices that are falling out and start to put them in. And Red hands him two of the juices. And David sobers quickly, and he's like, "Shit, I got to deal with this nigga." So they leave JG's house. They leave his granddaddy's house. And so Red is trying to get David to go with him to his uncle's house. And so David is like, "No, I got to get home before my mama get home. She told me to come." He's like, "Ain't nothing to do in the Ville. The Ville will be waiting for you when you get back." He was like, "No, my mama said I got to come right home. I got to go." And he was like, "Look, we already had," he's like, "I'm trying to work with you. We already had that incident where you fell asleep and the police rolled up on us, and I guess they lost money and or product, would be my guess. Possibly both, when the police ran up on him and David was sleeping the night before, had fallen asleep the night before." So he's like, "I'm trying to work it out with you, but you making it difficult. But that's okay. Going back to the Ville and I'll see you." So he's, in a sense, blackmailing David to go with him to his uncle's house. So they get to the uncle's house and they sitting there waiting, they leaning on the car, this Ford Mustang. And Dredd says that his dad had bought him a car for his birthday. And his father was Scott. And so he says, "My dad was good with birthdays." He's like, "You know what I mean." He's like, "He had a way of making you feel like you was the only person in the world." And so they're sitting there having a conversation about Sky. And Dredd even get teary-eyed. He's talking about he misses his dad. And just as David is about to admit to Red that he still sees Sky, because it was coming out of his mouth, "I still see him," the uncle pulls up. And so the uncle is like, "Nephew, come in the house." And David walks up to him, and well-mannered as he is, he says, "Hi, sir, my name is David," and he sticks out his hand, and he looks at him, and he's like, "I didn't tell my nephew he could bring company to my house," and walks in the house. And so David is still standing at the door. Red has gone in the house. And so the other little boy who was driving the uncle around jumps out the car. David looks him up and down. The look, um, I don't know if he's looking him up and down, like sizing him up, like I can take this nigga if I have to, or if he was checking him out, looking him up and down. That wasn't clear enough for me. And I'm not trying to, I don't know, because I think that has going to have something to do with the storyline, because there's some things that happen later on in the episode that makes me believe we're going to take a left turn down that road. But the boy was beautiful, little light-skinned, light-eyed baby. Okay, all right, we see you. So the uncle is sitting there talking to Red, telling him, how do I even know I can trust you with this product after the issue that we had last night? Blase, bloom, blue, blue. And you can hear the uncle pressing him. And so David starts to hear that high-pitched ring. I think David has PTSD. Honestly, I really do. So that high-pitched ring and things start to go out of focus for him. And then he immediately makes a decision. He takes the blame for what happens. He's like, it wasn't his fault. It was my fault. And so the uncle finally takes notice of David. And he comes in and he says, there's pawns and there's kings. And he was like, you got a good one. And Red said, he's like, I told you he was great. He's like, I didn't tell you whether he was a pawn or a king. And so he hands David a glass of water, tequila. I don't know, it was a clear liquid. And so David takes the cup. His hand is trembling a little bit. Not enough that it's super noticeable, but there's a little smidge shaky. And so he sits the cup down on the coaster on the table. He's like, he may be a pawn, but he could be a king. And so he takes David into the kitchen and he says, and he starts to press him about him wanting to move product. And he told him, well, I don't want to, he's like, no. And he was like, yeah, but you got heart and you're smart. And he sees in David the potential that David has, that to be something, and he's got the wherewithal to make it not only in the world, but also he knows how to move in the drug world. And so David says, Sky didn't want me to move drugs. Well, he didn't say drugs. He said Sky didn't want me to move. And he was like, well, I'm not Sky. And he was like, give me a slow yes, instead of the extremely fast no that he gave him. So Red come back out and he has David's book bag. He's like, come on, let's go. And so they're leaving the house, and Red has put the drugs that the uncle gave him into David's book bag and told him to take it back to the apartment complex. And he was like, bruh, what you mean? And he was like, ain't nobody looking at a kid with a book bag. I don't know that to be true, because clearly they see any black young man of any age range as a full-grown adult capable of anything. So just because he's a young kid with a young black boy with a book bag doesn't mean he's invisible. That means somebody's looking at him. Trust me, somebody is looking at him. So he's on the bus and he's trying to figure out, because they gave him some there's medicine in the box, Mormax, and I think that's what they used to make crystal meth, but I could be wrong. like cold medicine and stuff. I don't know, to make the lean. None of my business. So he writes down the name. He opens his book bag and write down the name of the medicine. And at that point, some loud broad at the front of the bus talk about somebody on the bus is loud as hell. The weed that's in his is loud. You can smell it. So he goes to the grocery store. He ain't got but $1 and some change in his pocket. He gets some oven bags. He goes to the bathroom. He wraps the weed in the oven bags and he sprays some air freshener so you can't smell the weed on him or on his book bag. So he goes to get on the bus and he realizes he doesn't have any money to get on the bus, so he's gonna have to walk it back across town. So he starts to first he goes to call his mama to see where she's at, because she said she done told him a couple times, don't let me beat you home. You better be home by the time I get off of work. And so he's like, yes, ma'am. So he tries to call his mother on his little Nokia phone, and the phone goes dead. Now, I don't know what you've been doing and how long you ain't had that phone charged, but I know a Nokia could keep it charged for 3-4 days. So, oh no, 3 days and you still be at 98%. So he asked to borrow one of the same lady he was talking about. He loud on the bus. She's waiting for her connection, and he was like, ma'am, can I use your phone? I need to call my mama. And she was like, I don't play about my phone. She was like, give me the number and I'll dial for you, and you can talk to her on speakerphone, which is exactly what he does. And she was like, this Miss. And then she talked to mom, and she's like, don't worry, my name is Raquel. We at such and such bus stop, And she was like, David, get home. I'll see you when I get home. And he was like, yes, ma'am. So David gets to walking and walking and walking. And day has turned into early evening because the sun has gone down. And he's still walking. He's covered in sweat. Clearly, he's thirsty. He sees a water fountain. He walks up to it. The water fountain is completely disabled. There's getting no water out there. And he looks over and he sees this white woman standing like an oasis in the desert. And so he's like, and she talks to him. Her name is Femi. And she was like, are you thirsty? And he was like, yes. And she was like, you're not the first thirsty dude to come through here. And she was like, don't worry, I'm not alone. And so out of the bushes come all of these different people. I believe they're all transgender hookers and prostitutes. They walk in the stroll and all that good stuff. And then there's one young person. And Femi tells his name is Star, and she said, Starry, throw David some water, do it uncapped so he know we're not trying to trick him. And so Starry throws the water to David and throws it a little too hard because the water opens and spills on the ground. And she was like, you got to stop taking that tea, you too aggressive. So I'm assuming Star is a trans male, is a biologically at birth was assigned as a female and is now transitioning to be a male. So Femi throws him another bottle of water, and they have a little conversation. And he was like, she said, you trying to get on the X, which is the bus? And he was like, yeah. And she's like, it runs funny around here, so it should be here any minute. So we then see this taxi that's pulling up real fast with two people in the car in the front seat. And she was like, David, Star, y'all go get to the bus now. Don't worry about us, just get to the bus. And he was like, but I think, she was like, no, don't think, you two just hot-footed on this bus. And so as Star and David is walking away from the taxi, as it pulls up, and it is a very clockable trans woman in the front seat with the taxi driver. And he is upset. He was like, it wasn't worth the $50, blase bloom and boo boo boo, and they tussling in the front. And the girl gets out of the front seat of the car and falls back behind Femi, and they attack and they proceed to whoop this man's behind, which I thought was hilarious, but I'm rude, so what do I know? So they go to get on the bus, and David doesn't have the money, and so Star says, "That's okay, I got you." So they sitting there and they're having a conversation, and they both head into the same apartment complex. He's like, Femi hooked me up with a friend, because I just got down here, and I don't. Clearly they kicked the child out of the house because they trans, and so this baby is on the streets. So through their trans family network, they got her a place to stay. So as they're walking up to the apartment complex, who's waiting for them? Miss Elisha, the same, I'm assuming now, transgender woman, who watches David and them for the mama in the apartment complex. So she's like, Star, and she was like, yes. And so they have a conversation. She was like, well, there's a couple rules when you staying with me in my house. This Elisha said, first, I'm the only hoe in this house. And secondly, if anybody asks, we family. About what you doing here, we're family. So then David goes to one of the upper, and is clapping at one of the upper apartments for Saban to come out, which is the light-skinned boy who had the attitude with him in the first episode with the tattoo on his face. And he was like, what took you so long? And he was like, I had to walk. And he was like, okay, well, nigga, come on, bring it up. And he was like, no, you come down. And he was like, nigga, why are you so scared? He's like, I'm not. I got to get home. Just come meet me downstairs. And he was like, Jesus. And so as David is approaching where the little boy's going to meet him at the bottom of the stairs, he can't pass because he sees a vision of Sky standing there. And Sky is swaying like this, like a snake charmer. And David is swaying. And tears are coming out of his eyes. And he said, I'm sorry. He keeps saying, I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Now, the little boy he's supposed to meet sees David standing there, swaying, saying, I'm sorry. And there's nobody there in front of him. So he's just talking to himself, I'm sorry, and there's a tear coming out of his eye. Saban doesn't say anything. He just turns and walks away. Which makes me think that everybody knows that there's something going on with David mentally, that something's not connected, like he sees things or something, and it's just accepted as that's just who he is. But maybe we'll get more explanation about that in the next episode. I'm gonna hurry up because this is 23 minutes. So he clearly gives the drugs to the little boy. He goes home and, put a bunch of dryer sheets in his bag to get the smell out, and gets into the bed, and he's in bed for maybe 2-3 minutes, and the door opens and you hear his mother say, David, I'm home. That's how the episode ends. This also was a very good episode. This is a very good series. I think there is going to be some questions about David's sexuality that comes up. I don't know if he'll be in confusion with regards to Sky, or maybe even with his best friend, because El Teddy said he thought he caught an inkling of something going on between Seven and David. And even though we didn't see him this episode, he'll be back next week, so we'll try and figure it out. But that is all that I have for this evening. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Click the bell so you're notified anytime I drop a video. And I will catch you in the next one. Peace.